this presentation we will be discussing regarding generic cover groups which are used in System Verilog. So in this particular presentation I will be covering on these aspects, that is introduction to cover groups, generic cover groups, defining generic cover groups, example of generic cover group by means of program example, that is coding. Then we will see what are the benefits of generic cover groups as well as what are the practical applications relevant to generic cover groups. So what are these cover groups? These cover groups are used in System Verilog in order to measure the functional coverage. So cover groups are mainly used in System Verilog in order to measure the functional coverage, which will help us to ensure that all the possible scenarios in a particular design are tested. So the generic cover groups what we are having are the cover groups which are of reusable type. So reusable cover group definitions that can be applied for different scenarios. These are especially designed to be flexible, also adaptable to various verification needs. So you can define a generic cover group by making use of parameters as well as variables. This can be customized for various instances, which is going to allow us for the creation of a single cover group definition that can be reused with the different types of configurations. So in the further slides we will be seeing example of generic cover group. So before going with the example, I want you to tell something about the benefits related with the generic cover groups, also its practical applications. So to tell about the benefits of a generic cover group, as I already told you, it's of a reusable type. So reusability is one of its major benefits, flexibility as well as maintainability. So these three are the major benefits what you can see in generic cover groups. The generic cover groups can be reused across different parts of the test bench, which is going to reduce redundancy. Also its flexible nature, that is it can be easily adapted to different types of scenarios by just changing the parameters, and also they simplify the maintenance of the test bench by centralizing the coverage definition. So these three are the major benefits what you can find in generic cover groups. Regarding the application part, generic cover groups are most useful in large verification environments where similar type of coverage needs to be measured across say multiple modules as well as multiple instances. They can also be used to cover a wide range of scenarios without the need to define multiple cover groups. So these are the major practical applications which you can find for generic cover groups. Now we will discuss regarding the generic cover groups, how the arguments are passed in generic cover groups by means of certain code examples. Generic cover group, there are two different types of possibilities. One is we can pass the cover group arguments by means of values. So this is a program example where we are passing the cover group arguments in terms of values, and also we have a generic cover group which can be passed with the reference. So first let us see how we can pass a cover group arguments by value. So this is one of the program example which I have taken in order to showcase how cover group arguments can be passed by a value. So here you can see cover group with the name given as CG underscore with underscore value, which represents the cover group name. So this is the cover group name which we have here, and also it is defining cover group with that particular name. So here we have a keyword used as input. The cover group is going to take an integer. Int is nothing but integer. So this cover group by the name cg underscore with underscore value is going to take an integer value as an input argument. So this is passed by a value. So the cover point value is going to define the cover point for the variable value. So here we have bins represented in terms of low, mid as well as high value. So here you can see bin low 0, bin mid 1, 2, 3 and bin high 4, 5, 6. So what is this indication? So this bins low is equal to 0 is going to track when the value is 0, and this bins mid is equal to 1, 2, 3 is going to track when value is 1, 2 and 3, whereas bin high is equal to 4, 5, 6 is going to track when value is 4, 5 as well as 6. Here we have a module definition part. So the module is given with the name called as test. This defines a module named test, and here you have integer my value equal to 3, so which is a variable declaration. So this is a variable declaration. Then you have a cover group instantiation. So here the cover group instantiation has been done. So this is cover group instantiation, that is cg underscore with underscore value cg is equal to new my underscore value is the instantiation of the cover group, which is going to create an instance of the cover group cg underscore with underscore value and passes my underscore value by value. This is how passing the cover group arguments by value is taking place here. And then we have an initial block over here. So you can see this is the initial block. This block is going to contain the initial procedural code that runs at the start of the simulation. So here you can see the sampling cg dot sample, which is calling the sample. This sample is being called the method to capture the current value of my underscore value for the coverage. So this is a program example which is going to clearly showcase us how a cover group argument can be passed by value. The code, in order to summarize how it is being passed through a value, the code is going to be defined as a cover group here, that is cg underscore with underscore value, that's going to take an integer value as an input. So here you can see this is taken as an integer. So input is the keyword what you are going to use in order to pass it by value, pass the arguments by value. The cover group is going to have the cover point with bins to track the specific ranges of those input values. So here you can see bins low, mid as well as high. Then you have a module which is named as test. In that test module we have an integer variable that is my value which is declared as well as initialized. An instance of cover group is getting created with my underscore value passed by value. Then you have a sample method which is called to record the value of my underscore value for coverage. So this setup what is given over here will allow us to measure the functional coverage for the variable, that is my underscore value based on the defined bins in this particular cover group. So this is one of the way in which you can pass the cover group arguments, that is through. And next one set of program example I am having, which is passing the cover group arguments by reference. So this is the program example where you have the passing of cover group arguments by reference. So let us see this stepwise how this code is going to work. So here at the start we have a cover group definition. So in this case the cover group definition is something like this: CG underscore with underscore reference. Reference is the keyword which we are going to make use in order to pass the cover group arguments by reference. This is going to take an integer value. So here you can see int, integer value by reference. This particular reference, that is ref keyword, what we are going to use over the system Verilog in passing cover group arguments, is going to ensure that any changes to the values are reflected in the cover group. Then again like the previous example, we have a cover point value here. So this is going to define a cover point for the variable say value. Cover points are used in order to specify the values or the ranges of values that you want to track for coverage. Then again you have bins which are in terms of low, mid as well as high. Again this bin low is going to track when the value is 0, and this bin mid is going to track the value when the values are 1, 2 as well as 3, and finally this bin high is going to track the values when the values are 4, 5 as well as 6. Then comes the module definition part. Here the module is defined by the name called as test. Then comes the declaration of the variable part. So here we have my underscore value, which is declared as an integer and assigned with the value of 3, and this declares an integer variable, that is my underscore value, and it initializes its value to 3. Then next we have a cover group instantiation once again. So cover group instantiation is done something like this: CG underscore with underscore reference CG, which is equal to new my underscore value. This is going to create an instance of the cover group, say CG underscore with underscore ref, and passes my underscore value by reference. Next comes the initial block from begin till end. This block is going to contain the initial procedural code that's going to run at the start of the simulation once again. And then you have a sampling part being done. So CG dot sample, the method called samples the current value, that is of my underscore value for coverage, which is equal to 5. This samples the updated value of my underscore value, that is CG dot sample, what you can see over here. So in order to summarize about passing the cover group arguments through reference, the code which I have displayed over here is going to demonstrate us how to pass a variable by reference to a cover group by making use of a keyword as I told you as ref, reference. Also the cover group is going to track any changes to the variable and updates its coverage bins accordingly. Particularly this approach is going to ensure that the cover group always reflects the current value of the variable during the simulation time. So this was a brief description about the cover group, how it is being defined and how the arguments are passed in terms of values, as well as through reference how it can be passed. Hope you understood this concept. Thank you for listening.